Hello everyone, welcome back to our Java programming course. I hope you are doing well. In today's class, we are going to learn about one of the most important topics in Java, data types, operators, variables, and identifiers. These concepts are the foundation of every Java program. Before we write any advanced program, we need to understand how Java stores data and perform operation. Okay, so don't worry if you're a beginner, I'll explain every concept with a simple example and easy program. So let's start with our first topic, data types in Java. Imagine you are filling a form. Your name contains letter, your age is the number, and your salary may contain decimal values. Since all these values are different, Java needs to know what type of data is being stored. A data type tells Java what kind of a variable can store, how much memory it's needed, and what operation can be performed on it. So Java has two categories of data type. One is primitive and another one is non-primitive. Okay, we will study both in detail. So next, look at this diagram carefully. At the top, we have Java data type, which are divided into two categories. The first category is primitive data type. These store simple values like numbers, characters, and true or false. The second category is non-primitive data type. These including strings, arrays, classes, and objects. Think of primitive types as storing the actual value, while non-primitive types store a reference to an object. Okay, so we will understand both categories one by one. First one, primitive data type. Primitive data types are the basic data types provided by Java. There are 8 primitive data types there: byte, short, integer, long, or used to store whole numbers. Flat and double are used to used for decimal values. Character stores single character like A or B. Boolean stores only two values, true or false. Primitive data types are very fast because they store values directly in memory. As beginners, remember that integer, double character, and booleans are the most commonly used. Okay. So now let's move on to non-primitive data types. Unlike primitive data types, these stores reference to objects and can hold multiple values. Some common examples are string, array, class, interface, and object. Now look at the example program. Here, age is declared as an integer, salary is double, grade is a character, and status is a boolean value. Finally, the system.out.println statement print all these values on the output screen. This program shows how different data types are used in Java program. Next one is operator in Java. Okay, operators are special symbols that perform operations on variables and values. For example, if you want to add two numbers, compare two values, or check multiple conditions, operator helps us to do that. Okay. Java provides different types of the operators such as arithmetic, relational, logical, assignment, unary, bitwise, and conditional operator. Okay. So first, arithmetic operators are used for a mathematical calculation. In this program, we declare two variables, a equal to 10, b equal to 5. The first statement add the number and print 15. The second subtract them and print 5. The third multiply them and print 15. The fourth perform division and give 2. Finally, the modulus operator returns the remainder, which is 0 because 10 is exactly divisible by 5. Okay. So these operators are used in almost every Java program. Next one is relational operator. So relational operators are used to compare two values. The result is always either true or false. Here 10 greater than 5 is true. 10 less than 5 is false. 10 equal to 5 is also false. Finally, 10 not equal to 5 is true. Okay. So these operators are mainly used in decision making statements like if else, and loop. Next slide, logical operator. So logical operators help us combine multiple conditions. There are three important logical operators are there. The under operator represented by double ampersand returns true only when both conditions are true. Okay. The OR operator represents double vertical bar return true if at least one condition is true. The NOT operator represented by an exclamation mark reverse the result. Okay. Logical operators are commonly used while validating user input and making decision in program. Next one is assignment operator. Assignment operators are used to assign values to variable. Normally, if we write a equal to a plus 5, Java also allow us to write in a shorter uh, form as a plus equal 5, right? Similarly, we have a minus equal, multiple equal, and many other assignment operators. These operators make the code shorter, cleaner, easier to read. In this example, the value of a changes after every assignment operation and the updated values printed on the screen. This is why assignment operators are very useful in programming. Okay. Next one is unary operator. As the name suggests, a unary operator works as only one operand or one variable. The most commonly used unary operators are increment and decrement. Look at the program. We initialize a equal to 5. Then we write a plus plus. Java first print the current value, which is 5. And then increase it is to 6, right? This is called post increment. Next, plus plus a. First, increase the value to 7 and print it. This is called pre-increment. Similarly, a minus minus and minus minus a decreases the value. Understanding the difference between pre and post operators is very important because they are frequently asked in interview exam questions. Okay. Next one is bitwise operator. So these operators work directly on the binary representation of the number, which means they operate on zeros and ones instead of decimal values. In this example, we have two numbers, 5 and 3. The AND operator compare each bit and return 1, only if both bits are 1. The OR operator return 1 if at least one bit is 1. The XOR operator return 1 only when the bits are different. Okay. Bitwise operators are mostly used in system programming, embedded system, and performance optimization. As a beginner, just to remember that they are work on binary numbers. Now let's discuss local variable. A local variable is declared inside a method, constructor, or a block, and it can only be used within that particular method. In this example, the variable x is declared inside the display method with the value 10. When we print x, the output is 10. Once the method finishes the execution, the local variable is automatically removed from memory. So remember, a local variable has limited scope and temporary lifetime. It cannot be accessed outside of the method where it is declared. Okay. Let's move on the identifier. An identifier is simply the name given to the program element like variables, method, classes, or objects. For example, in this program, student is the class name, age is the variable name, and display is the method name. There are some important rules for naming identifiers. They should not start with a number. They should not be a Java keyword, and they cannot contain letters, digits, underscores, or the dollar symbol. Okay. Using meaningful names make your code easier to understand and maintain. Next one is static variable. A static variable belongs to the class, not to individual objects. That means only one copy of the variable exists and it's shared by all the objects of the class. In this example, a variable college is declared as static and its value is MCEC. Instead of creating an object, we directly access it using student or college. This saves memory because every object uses the same value instead of creating multiple copies. Static variables are commonly used for values that remains the same for all objects. Okay. Next is the instant variable. Unlike static variable, an instant variable belongs to each object. In this example, the variable age is declared inside the class, but outside any method, right? Inside the main method, we create an object named s using the student class. When we write s.age, Java accesses the age of that specific object and print the value 20. We created another student object, it can have a different age, right? So every object has its own separate copy of an instant variable. That's the end of the today's session. Let's quickly recap when we learned we started with the Java data type. Then you understand different operators, including arithmetic, relational, logical, assignment, unary, and the bitwise operator. After that, we discussed a local variable, static variable, instant variable, and the rule of the identifier. Okay. So after that, I have attached two quizzes. You should attend the quiz and comment in the YouTube channel comment section. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.